G'day all, it's Colin from PC TLC and thanks for joining me. My eZarcher install with the Gnome desktop has just recently updated to Gnome 42. And I thought I would take this chance to show the changes that have been made, the ones that I've sort of noticed anyway. The first thing I did notice was my custom themes were taken away. They took my themes. So if we have a look at our tweaks, for example, let's go to tweaks and we go to appearance, themes. There's no themes, it's just the cursor. The icons are all working as expected. I had to go to extensions to turn on the user themes. There it is. So I had to toggle that back on, the user themes. And once I did that, it allowed me to change the shell, but what I've done is left it at default because default looks probably better. You can change the shell theme, as you can see. It allows you to do that, but I just put it back to default. It's black, it looks okay. And then you got the legacy options, which is my theme. So we've got legacy options there. Quagga Wind Dark, because if we have a look at, there's all my themes there. Quagga Wind Dark is the one I like to use. It does come up, I think, in, I'm just trying to think, there was something that was using that, and I cannot remember which one it was. I'm not sure if it was, yeah, there's some legacy ones. Now, Cherry Tree's probably, I think, a flat pack, I'm pretty sure. So that's using the Quagga Wind Dark theme. Besides that, most of the Gnome ones will be using the normal theme, the libadwaita default theme that comes with Gnome now. So settings has had a lot of changes made to it. Mainly everything's in cards. If you have a look, everything's separated by cards. We look at the Wi-Fi here, visible networks. I like these little lines in here. It just creates really nice separation. I think visually it's quite good to look at, and you got these cards here. So everything's in cards. What else have we got in here? About Gnome version 42. I'm running Wayland. So I'm actually recording with OBS on Wayland. So I might do a quick video about that as well, because I had to do a little bit of research on how to get that going. But it's running quite well. And if you have a look up the top here, if you're wondering what this little yellow screen is up the top here, if you have a look, screen is being shared. So when I'm recording in Wayland, it will ask me which screen I want to record, and I've got to select the screen, and it tells you that it's now being shared. Don't know if that's part of a security, some type of security thing that comes with Wayland, I'm not sure. So that's my specs there, and as you can see, that those nice little lines there with the separation just looks nice. And everything's in cards. I like the text. It stands out really nicely. Just quickly run through some of these things here. There's my monitors, removable media, printers. I've got to unlock that to add a printer. And sharing. So this one here was interesting, I must say. File sharing is off. So you can turn on file sharing. You can choose which home network to share it with. I've got several home networks. That's the one that's currently running. That's the Dash 5. That's 5 gigahertz instead of 2.4, which is the standard. I swap and change from those two, depends. If my son's in the study using wired network, then my 7490, this one here, gets slow. So if I change it over to this one, it speeds up. I swap and change from that. It's a bit of a pain. I don't know why. I'm going to try and work out how to run a cable into this room. It's annoying at times. So now you've got this file sharing option here. Remote desktop here. Haven't tried that yet. Just things I've noticed. Media sharing, so you can share folders. and remote login through SSH, which I do for my Plex server. I remotely log into that. You got this multitasking here. You can choose to turn off hot corners if you wish. Active screen edges, drag windows against the top left and right screen edges to resize them. Well, you probably still only have half, full and half. Full and half. You don't have quarters or quadrants. You can choose to have dynamic workspaces, which means that there'll be 2 by default. If we have a look here, you'll already have 1 here. If you have more than 1, if you choose to move another one to another workspace, let's open a couple of things up. Let's move that to there. That's another thing. If I go too far, it goes to the other screen rather than the other workspace. And then if we open that up, now you've got 2 there. We can move that to the 3rd one. And then there's dynamic workspaces. Now, if we do close these, then the workspaces disappear. And then you only end up with 1 workspace with another one ready to go. You can have a fixed number of workspaces, so you can have 4 workspaces already available, and you can increase that or decrease that. And you can have workspaces on both displays or all displays, depending on how many monitors you have. And you can include applications from all workspaces or include applications from the current workspace only. Now, the one thing that I noticed that was strikingly obvious when GNOME 42 updated was a glaringly white screen just staring at me, throwing my retinas to the back of my head. Because whatever custom wallpaper I had running was taken out. Changing wallpaper here. I've already added one here, but I haven't used it. But all of these are split, so they will change depending on whether you're using the light or dark mode. So if we have a look at the light mode, there you can see the wallpaper is a lot brighter. And if we use the dark mode, then the wallpaper gets dark. And that's the same with all of these here. Light, dark. That's the dark mode. That's the light mode. So you see how that works. I quite like this wallpaper anyway. So that's a bit of the settings there. And the other thing I've noticed is when going through, let's just say we go through user, share, themes. Let's go to themes. Now, I don't know if this was happening before. I don't remember it happening, but we now can click on these. They've got little square boxes to choose. That, I like that. That's a great idea. It just makes navigating so much easier, especially navigating back instead of hitting the back button all the time. You can navigate, you know, if you want to go back all the way, instead of, let's go to themes. So if I wanted to go back all the way back to computer or all the way back to user, I don't have to keep clicking the back arrow. I can just go back to user. It's so handy. So I really like that implementation. Really nice. You got your calendar here. And as you can see, screen is being shared here. We've also got GNOME Web, which we're using as a Linux Saloon challenge or exploration this week. So I might do a video on that as well, because there's a couple of things I really like about this and some things I don't like. So I've looked at the dark preference. I've gone to have a look at what's different here. Oh yeah, the screenshot tool. So you can use the normal screenshot tool that comes with GNOME. That's your normal one, which has delayed times. But if you hit the print screen, in my case it's the function button and print screen, then you get this little new screenshot tool here. You can show the pointer, you can choose a current window, or you can make a selection, you can take a screenshot, or you can screencast. I haven't tried all of these, I've just tried this screen at the moment. I took some screenshots to use as my thumbnail, so I'm definitely going to do that and mix the two together. It will look nice. And you just hit this button here to take your screenshot, like so, and it's captured. Show in files. Now it shows up in this screenshot folder. I'm not sure if I created that one or it was there all the time. I cannot remember. I do create a lot of folders, but there's the screenshot there, which leads me into the next one, which is pictures. Let's go to pictures, and we'll just have a look at the what it said here. Let's have another quick look. That's a screenshot. These are keyboard shortcuts for your screenshot tool. Okay, so you got some upgraded apps here. One of them is contacts, I noticed. Contacts, if we have a quick look at contacts, probably from phones, or I think it must be using an online account for that. I think I have got an online account going, so it's picking up all my contacts there. Software is another one. Let's have a quick look at software. We've now got these, it's got updates here, but I don't, that update is probably just a flat pack. That's all that'll be. I update through the terminal on Arch, which is the correct way to do it. Just shows you what's installed there, and explore. So they've got these create, work, play, socialize, learn, develop, new and updated here. I'm not sure about the interpretation of the names of these ones here. I think they've chosen these names to cut down the amount of categories to be needed, which means I think it sort of makes it just that little bit harder to find things that you're looking for. If you know what you're looking for, you can search, no problem. But I mean, we've gone from I don't know how many categories to just 6. So they say they're simplifying things, so that's definitely what's going on there. You've got your to-do, your Gnome to-do. They reckon the Gnome to-do has been updated. I've got nothing going on here at the moment. It comes up with a little thing if you haven't opened it for the day. You just click on that and it opens this screen. And what it's got here is, which some of the Gnome apps are going to have, is you can change the look as you go. This one must be day and night, I think. It must work on what time of the day it is in your geographical area. I prefer the dark mode. So I'm sure there'll be a lot more apps showing up with that type of implementation for changing the color. I'm not sure if this one's got it. Doesn't look like it. You can see that the header bar on most of the Gnome apps are very consistent, and I think that's the plan, what they were going to do with these. Now there's 2 new apps. There's one called, what's it called? Text Editor and Console. Now my text editor is still gedit. gedit 42. If we have a look about gedit 42. And my terminal is still terminal. And yeah, the terminal's using the legacy at the moment. That's using the Quagga WinDark. Now they say text editor and console. So if we search for text editor, we just get gedit. And if we search for console, which is the name of the new one, not here yet. It does say that text editor is a preview release. I don't know if that's the same with the console. Maybe it is and it hasn't made it into Gnome yet. And they've got a bunch of UI, system UI has been updated, so you're going to get better performance as well. And then we'll have a quick look at photos. So let's have a look at the Photos app. Let's open up, it's called, I think now, Image Viewer. Let's have a look at that, Image Viewer. image viewer 42. Let's go to some pictures, wallpaper, what to look at. I made some Solus wallpapers a long time ago. This one was just a standard Solus wallpaper. You can full screen here. And if we go through some pictures, we can just scroll through like that. I made these myself, this one, and this one, and this one. I was just messing around with GIMP. I don't remember how I did it, to be honest. I'd have to go back through all that now and relearn what I did, because I was just messing about. I was inspired by Karl Schneider. He was making some really nice wallpapers. So they're just some Solus wallpapers I made. And I was using them as a background for a while. And I think I did that one. I'm not sure if I did that one or it's a Karl Schneider one. I think I made that one. I was messing around with shadows and drop shadows and stuff. I don't remember how I did it now. So if we go up to the top here and click on leave full screen, but I like the way it scrolls through. It's really nice, gives you some information on the properties of the image on the side there. And we've got some options here. You've got slideshow option, show presenter, preferences, slideshow plugins. So not a bad image viewer there for GNOME 42 image viewer. Quite nice. That's the cards that comes up here. That's fairly been there for a little while now. We can clear that if we want. And that's cleared. So I did have an extension running up the top here. I'm not sure if that's still installed. Sound and input device, tray icons. Normally I would get some things showing up here, screen recorder and stuff, but it's actually not showing, which is unusual. It's normally up here. What's this one? That's my removable drive menu, that one there, which is very handy for ejecting your drives. But I've actually just noticed that my simple screen recorder is not showing up the top there, which it was before the update when I'm recording, but it's not showing there now. So maybe that extension has not caught up to GNOME 42 yet. There was an update there, didn't it? What did it say? Extension updates ready. One extension will be updated on next login. Okay. Under tweaks, I was there before, but just to show you, I am using the WoW 64 icons, which are I really like those icons. They're really nice. And as you can see, got all these toggle switches. It's been a lot of talk about libedwaiter, and it actually looks nice. The only thing it doesn't do is it doesn't allow people to use custom themes. So I suppose we have to move forward with the times. If you don't want to use the standard libedwaiter and you want to use custom themes, then I suppose you have to go to another desktop. I like GNOME, it's not too bad, and the changes that have been made here, I'm quite liking them at the moment. So a very interesting thing I noticed is if you've got something that's in the menu down here, which is in the favorites, it actually doesn't show up in this menu here. So if I was to remove GNOME Web from favorites, let's have a look. Unpin, let's unpin that. It's unpinned, but it's still open, which I've still got it open over here. So there it is there, it's still open on the other screen. So if we go to the menu now and look for web, there it is there. And you've got this little dot under it. It tells you that that little dot is telling you that that's active window, an open active window somewhere. So it tells you that. So if we open something like text editor, for example, gedit, let's open that. And we go to this screen here. Gedit should be in the menu somewhere. And there's gedit up there. You can see that it's got a dot under it and that it's open. But if I was to add that to favorites, pin to dash, that's pin to dash. Now it disappears from the menu because it's pinned to the dash. So if you find that, so now you've got a separation here for ones that are not pinned to the menu. So if I was to unpin that, now the separation shows that those two are not pinned to the dash and they are actually from the menu. That's why there's a separation there. All these are pinned. So you have some dash separation there as well. So that's pin to the dash Gnome Web. There we go. It used to be called favorites, now it's pinning to the dash. And here we have about web 42. I think someone had an epiphany and they changed it to web. They called it web 42, or is it Gnome Web, or is it just web browser? I'll let you ponder on that one. Yes, this is Gnome Web. I'm going to go over this in a different video, Gnome Web and OBS recording. So what do I think of the changes of Gnome 42? Haven't impacted me too much, but I'm quite liking the changes. I think moving forward, they're looking for consistency across the desktop, a little bit like Elementary does with their curated apps. There's still, like I showed you, some custom themes being used within some of the apps that I've installed, but I'm sure that, I suppose over time, once developers start developing and implementing libadwaita, I'm not sure how many developers are doing this, whether it's a standard that GNOME is asking of developers. I don't go too much into that, but I can only see that they're heading towards consistency on the desktop and everything will look the same. And that's why they've given you the option of, you know, light and dark themes, I suppose, within the GNOME desktop now. Yeah, so I can't use my custom themes. No big deal. If I want to use a GNOME desktop, I have to accept that that's the case, which I do. I don't mind the buttons on the libadwaita. They're not too bad. Buttons there are not too bad. Yes, there's some nice little subtle changes that I've noticed, especially within files where you can navigate back within the navigation bar thing. That's very handy. I like that idea. So I've already started using that because I do that because you can do that in Windows, and quite often when I'm on a desktop, if I'm trying a different desktop, I do go to that navigation bar or the path bar or whatever it's called. I do quite often click on that to see whether other desktops actually do that. And I think it's a habit that I've formed to try and do that. And I've noticed with this change that it was actually there, and it's quite handy. I like that. It's a nice little implementation that I enjoy using. And they still give you the option of changing the GNOME shell, although I did select it to be default, which is the dark across the top there on the panel. Decided to leave it as default. You can still change that color if you wish. I'm not fussed. I think now, looking at the way GNOME's going, probably besides icons, hopefully they still allow you to use icons. There's a lot of people out there who are making themes and icons for many years now within Linux. I don't know how this impacts them, but there's still a lot of the Mate desktop, the XFCE, KDE and Cinnamon, they're all still using, and probably Budgie will still be able to use those particular themes in those desktops. Probably just not in GNOME unless they have to make it to suit libadwaita. I don't know how all that works. But it looks like I'll be going for some of the defaults, I think, within GNOME, except for icons. I like to have my own icons. As long as I don't change that, that's fine. I haven't actually tried the GNOME icons yet. Let's try the default. Oops. Add waiter default. Just have a quick look at that. So the default icons for adwaita. Yeah, I think I'll stick with my WoW 64, I think. Not bad looking icons, but I like my WoW 64 better. So that was GNOME 42 desktop and some of the changes within GNOME 42. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you found it interesting and informative, and thanks for watching.